Good evening, everybody. So today we're going to get started with knowing about what is happening today. A lot being read about and being talked about is the Nobel Prize win. The Nobel Prize and the Nobel Prize winners is being talked about, and September, October are the times when a lot of people start talking about the Nobel Prizes. So we thought we will, in this integrative health education series, we will bring up the selection process and how it is used to declare the winners, and in what way, what is the prize money, and what is the importance of prize, the Nobel Prizes. So I'm going to share the screen and take you to a commentary of how the Nobel Prizes are awarded. And this will give you a peep of the importance that we attach to excellence and merit in scientific discovery, whether it is from the modern medicine or Ayush medicine or any of the fields. But as you will see, the merit takes the lead. And if the merit is good, then the Nobel Prizes come. And even though there is so much of competition, this is a selection process. If it is one goes through it in a successful manner, then the Nobel Prizes are awarded in this September and October month. So it's the most prestigious award in the world. And it was Alfred Nobel, who's a Swedish chemist. He invented dynamite in 1867. His father was the chief of the explosive plant in Russia. And Nobel had 350 patents and 90 armament factories that you might not know. And when he died, he left a will, and that he said that his award from that will, the money that he left as a property, should be distributed on December 10th, which is the anniversary of Nobel's death, as a medal, a diploma, and a prize money. And this is the will that you can see that he wrote before he died. And it said that it should be given to the person who have made the most important discovery or invention in the field of physics, and that went on in chemistry, physiology, or medicine, even peace and literature. He did not define whether it should be given for discovery or invention, although the 77% of the physics prizes have been given to discoveries as compared to 23% which are given to inventions. If you look at the prize money, it is almost about, in Indian rupees, about 8 crores or so, 10 million Swedish kroner. And this time it is believed that it is being shared into 4 to 5 crores each between the two ladies who have won the Chemistry Nobel Prize. And there are news, and people know that some of the Nobel laureates have shared this prize money. For example, Albert Einstein shared it with his X5, who we know that had a far more significant scientific collaborator than was believed. And these are just the examples. Gunther Global also donated is another $1 million prize money for the construction of church. So it's very interesting to know that about 70% of the Nobel Prize winners, they believe in, they're religious, and they give the money to their churches, or some people donate, some don't donate. But this was also posed by a Chinese news reader to the current, one of the chemistry, Emmanuel, who won the Nobel for chemistry. And you can look it up in the Nobel Prize website. So what are the categories? Since 1901, the various categories for Nobel Prize are physics, chemistry, physiology, medicine, peace, and literature. And there is actually it's very interesting that no Nobel Prize is given for mathematics. It is speculated that Alfred Nobel proposed to a woman that didn't actually fructify, and she was a mathematician, because therefore it is said that mathematics is not included in the Nobel Prize. And these are the 4 institutions which where the Nobel Prize are decided or are given: the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences, the Swedish Academy, where the Nobel Prize for Literature is given, the Norwegian Nobel Committee, where the Nobel Peace Prize is given, and the Karolinska Institute, where the Nobel Prize of Physiology or Medicine is given. So everything starts in September when the nominations are sent out, and the deadline is about February. March and May, the consultation with the experts happens, and I will show you who the experts mostly are. And June, August is spent writing the report of the Nobel Prize. And September, which is the month which just went by, the committee submits its recommendations. Nobel laureates are chosen around 7th October. And in December, in the forthcoming December, the Nobel Prize award ceremony is done. This time, the Nobel Prize ceremony will be digitally done, as was announced recently. So, who are the qualified nominators? Who are the people who determine who will get the Nobel Prize? Apart from merit and excellence, there has to be a committee, and they do have a committee which consists of Swedish and foreign members of the respective Swedish academies. And the members of the committee include the people who are in the subject, past Nobel laureates, some of the permanent assistant professors in the Scandinavian region like Sweden, Denmark, Finland, and also they include holders of corresponding chairs in at least 6 universities in the Academy of Sciences, and other scientists that they may deem fit are also part of the nominator. This is just a glimpse to show you how a Nobel Prize award ceremony looks like. And of course, unfortunately, this time this will not be happening in a physical sense due to Corona. And this particular banquet can accommodate 1,300 guests. It's called the Blue Hall of the Stockholm City Hall, where the awards are given. So this we have two parts of this series. Today we will discuss about how the Nobel Prizes are given, what are the dynamics, what were the controversies, who won the Nobel, how many men, how many women. And the next part two, day after tomorrow, we will discuss a little bit more in details about the concepts and the real contributions, why they won the Nobel Prize. The Nobel, we will actually, so we will confine ourselves to chemistry and physiology or medicine. Since we represent the this is the journal Integrative Medicine case report, so we will only restrict to these two subjects which are relevant to our audience over there. So the Nobel Committee for 2020, the Nobel which was just announced to Emmanuel and Jennifer, the committee included these names. You can see these names included people like Gustafsson, Peter Somfai, Professor of Organic Chemistry, Professor of Biochemistry, Professor of Chemistry, Olof Remmerstrom, mostly people in the Scandinavian area. And of course, they have one person who is from the chairs of the universities, and of course, assistant professors also. This is to give you a glimpse of how many times people are nominated before they eventually get the Nobel Prize. So these are examples of people like Johannes Jensen, who were nominated 18 times for Nobel until he got the Nobel in literature in 44. Some people were nominated 17 times. Robert Koch was nominated 55 times before he won a Nobel in medicine, 1905. And there were people like Ferdinand Swarbruch, who were nominated 54 times and yet didn't win an award. So it's a long, long battle. It's intensely competitive, no doubt. And there are people who were nominated several times. And this is a magazine which came out with the people whom they predicted would be potential Indian candidates for Nobel. C.N.R. Rao is one of the nanotechnologists from India, to Mashelkar, Kasturi Rangan, M.G.K. Menon. Mrigank Sur, another Indian-born neuroscientist, now works in MIT, is being often proposed as sort of predicted as one of the nominees for Nobel. Dr. G. Padmanabhan. This is just an extract from Outlook magazine. And let us look at the age. What kind of an age do we look at when we look at? So people have done that kind of research. So the average age falls between 60 to 64 years. So and the average duration between the first discovery and the time you get the Nobel also is vastly spread across. So it is said that Shimanaya Yamanaka, who won the Nobel for physiology or medicine a couple of years back, there was only 5 years of difference between his discovery and the time he got the Nobel. And Milstein and Kohler, on the contrary, waited for 10 years for the discovery. Eric Kandel, who's another phenomenal biologist, a neuroscientist who discovered the mechanisms of memory and learning, had to wait for 35 years to get his Nobel. So it's a it takes a lot of time to get a Nobel, even if you have done a breakthrough in your field of research. So looking at who were some of the very creditable Nobel Prize winners, when you look at women, Marie Curie's name comes to our mind. She won a Nobel. She was the first woman to win a Nobel, and she won it twice in the physics and chemistry. And some people analyzed how prolific these women are, how many leadership positions they take. So because we are as editorial board members, as we are a journal, so we wanted to look at how many women led the journal. So these are names of some of the women who led the editorship of these journals. So Bertha, Toni Morrison, Pearl Buck, very few women, as per our analysis and also a review article we came out, found that only 3 out of 45 women Nobel laureates held the position of narrator, because the editor looks at the various articles and discoveries that are published in the form of data, and the editors take the final decision. And most of the prizes, including Nobel prizes, are determined by the publications, their citations, and the impact they make in technology, for social good, and so on. So who are the women? We also try to look at and compile data from various sources as to where do women stand, those women who've been Nobel laureates. And what leadership positions they take, what administrative positions they have commanded. So some of them we have just listed for you. Barry Sinose in medicine is the president of Indian International AIDS Society. Carol Greider, Ada Oyonath in chemistry. She headed the Max Planck Institute. Alva Maidral was the chairman of UNESCO's social science. And this list goes on, but is actually not that big as compared to the men counterparts. So just to make a point. When we look at the families, there is this is something is very exciting, that there have been Nobel laureates within the family. So it seems that there is a Nobel Prize running in the family. So Marie Curie, her husband Pierre Curie, they were all Nobel laureates. Their daughter Irene, Juliette Curie, son-in-law, and all of them, they were all Nobel laureates. The married couples that were Nobel laureates, Gertie Corey and Carl Corey in medicine, they were husband and wife. Alva Midral and Gunnar Midral, they won the peace and economics Nobel. Also, the spouses won the Nobel. How about father and son? So, you must be familiar with these names. William Bragg and Lawrence Bragg, father and son, won the Nobel in physics. Neil Bohr and Neil Bohr and again N. Bohr won the Nobel in physics. So similarly, J.J. Thomson and George Paget Thomson won another Nobel, father and son duo in physics. So as we look at the brothers, so these two brothers, Jan Tinbergen and Nicholas Tinbergen, also won a Nobel, economics and medicine respectively. So that's very exciting, isn't it? And if you look at Nobel laureates, still, this is analysis done from 1901 to 2013, 855 laureates have Nobel laureates, Nobel prizes have been given. And quite alarming and quite rather interesting, and not really alarming, but yes, it makes you really think twice that about 20% of the Nobel laureates are Jews actually. And this is I have cited the source of this information. Some people want to look at the publication number and what kind of research you're doing that qualifies you or gets you or helps you bag the Nobel Prize. So people looked at some of the research papers, looked at what kind of what is the number of publications. So one looks at the number of publication, you find that a lot of them are highly published and continuously publishing. People are mostly, these are the list of Nobel laureates publishing papers, more than 200, 300, 500. And those are the years listed next to that. And a lot of them have been shown to be partnering, especially for Nobel Prizes in physiology and medicine. A lot of them have collaborations and partnerships with biomedical research. This is something for the Ayush researchers and yoga academics to note, and other people in medicine to note, that biomedical research partnership helps you to go into the mechanism of action of a disease or a drug or a physiology that makes, which is called a breakthrough in understanding of our understanding physiology or medicine, whatever field. And in this particular field of physiology or medicine, biomedical partnership or collaboration really helps you to go to that level. And this list shows us that these people partnered with biomedical researchers, and those are the number of partnerships these people and groups had in those various years, which we pulled out from some sources in Nobel Prize website. People have even looked at the what is the multi-author, how good you team player you are, how many people you collaborate with. So if you are an Ayush practitioner yoga, you should be coordinating, you should be collaborating with physicians, scientists, biomedical researchers, engineers, and then only you can converge to a research question and try to find a solution for that. This shows that in that age group, various age groups, the laureates have had a huge number of collaborators as compared to a matched sample who are not Nobel laureates. So in the middle is the Nobel laureates, number of collaborators versus a matched sample which were non-Nobel laureates. And you can clearly see that as the age goes up, you have more and more collaborators, and it is far more in Nobel laureates as compared to non-Nobelers. So the spirit of collaboration is something we have to learn to go forward and contribute to discovery, invention, or something useful for our healthcare. People have also looked at, like in this year in chemistry, we had two Nobel laureate ladies. In physiology, medicine, we had three people for hepatitis. So these are the numbers. If you look at 38 of the medicine prizes, they have been won by only one Nobel laureates. Almost the same number of medicine prizes have been shared by two laureates, and almost the same number prizes by three laureates. So this also shows there is a consistency, and in fact, it gives us an impression that more collaboration, more people, if they work together, they are not at disadvantage when you're working alone. So this is not configured to a year-wise. So I cannot tell you which year this analysis was done, but as we go into a post-COVID era or a most post-modern era, we find that the more the collaboration, as I showed in previous slides also, the better is your output. So people have looked at different things. And again, among the physiology and medicine, people try to investigate and examine which field is actually emerging as a hot field for Nobel Prize committee to choose it. So genetics is found to be the most popular because it is presumably able to give insights into the importance of that field in discovering the beauty of life, or resolving pathophysiology, or developing and identifying new targets for drug therapy and stuff like that. So followed by other fields like biochemistry, cell physiology, and endocrinology comes down, and so cardiovascular physiology, bacteriology also a little bit down. So genetics is a hot field. Some people have also looked at the degree-wise awards, the Nobel Prize that have been given. A significant number of people who have a PhD among the Nobel laureates are found to be PhDs. 72.5% of the Nobel laureates with PhDs as compared to the other degrees. And a lot of them, about 80% of them, are from the research community as opposed to other fields of activity, and 25% of them have a background from a multidisciplinary background, meaning people from physics may have done in physiology, might have bagged a Nobel Prize in biology, or people from biology may have bagged a Nobel Prize in chemistry, like the two ladies in chemistry for 2020, Emmanuel and Jennifer have got the chemistry Nobel Prize, even though their work was in biochemistry or molecular biology. So it seems that the multidisciplinary educational background really contributes in having a new perspective to understanding of the field, which is what I wanted to tell you through this. And if you look at the countries, how are they faring? So just like the Olympics, the US, UK, Germany, France, in that order, the Nobel Prize are being bagged over the years. And this is a tally. I'm sorry you cannot see it very nicely, but I can tell you that the particular tally tells you that those are the Nobel Prize for various fields, and the US tops the list, followed by UK, Germany, France, then Sweden, Switzerland, Russia. And unfortunately, neither Japan nor India or any of the Southeast Asian countries, even China, doesn't figure there. So it is something to contemplate and to think about by policymakers, how to move forward in funding our research. Now, people have also looked at institutions, which institutions are doing well and which are not. Are these institutions universities? So the Nobel Prizes seem to belong to people who are working in a university ecosystem. So Columbia University, University of Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard University, California Institute of Technology. We do not see a medical institute anywhere. So this is another cause for worry for policymakers. I'm sure people are noting it down. This is important for policy research point of view. And if we look at if we compare the Nobel laureates, India has its share. This list is not updated, but among most of these Indian Nobel laureates or Pakistani Nobel laureates, you will find a lot of them are actually not belonging to their respective countries. So they moved out to another country and won the Nobel from that country. So essentially, there were very few Indians or Chinese or Pakistanis who won the Nobel as native Pakistani, Chinese, or Indians. So that's important. Another important point that is important for us to revisit if we should do something within our own ecosystem to propagate creativity, multidisciplinary research, based on whatever research figures that I've been showing you. And these Nobel Prizes are important because they should have some clinical application. They should be of use. And most of the Nobel Prize seem to have gone towards commercialization in the sense of their products and discoveries moving towards commercialization. Commercialization is the right way to move towards translation on social good. So this particular Nobel Prize won in 1992 by Edmund Fisher and Edwin Krebs went on to discover the first drug which was approved as a Gleevec drug. And same was true for the Nobel Prize for chemistry. And these are the different clinical trials which came out from the Nobel Prize winners as they evolved into phase 1, 2, 3 trials. So these are the physiology and medicine Nobel Prize winners for this year. The medicine physiology, as it is called, Nobel Prize went on the discovery of hepatitis C virus. 3 individuals, shows about the partnership, the collaboration, the importance of that. I will just go through them quickly. You can look at and read these. Harvey is 85 years old. He had to really wait along from Rochester, trained in US, had different other award, Lasker Award, and most of people who get Lasker Award are found to also follow up with the Nobel Prize. And what he did was he discovered the hepatitis virus. I'm not going to go into the detail. We'll catch this up in the next part 2, day after tomorrow. But I just want you to look at what these legends have, and what kind of people these are, what background they come from. Michael Houghton also is about 70, 71-year-old from Canada. He also got Robert Koch Prize, Karl Landsteiner Memorial Award. His education was in King's College London, was trained in Canada. He's the second person, and he was working with the pharmaceutical and he's his company, and his co-workers created a collection of DNA fragments from nucleic acids who were found to be in the blood of an infected chimpanzee. So these teams worked together, and the third Nobel Prize went to Charles Rice, who is the Nobel Prize for this year. Is also from US, from University of California in Davis, Rockefeller University. He is currently Rockefeller, and he also won Robert Koch Prize, the Lasker Prize that you noticed. And his discovery, we can go to that in then part 2 of this talk. But these 2 ladies won the Nobel this year for the development of a method called the genetic scissors or CRISPR Cas9 technology. These 2 ladies worked together, Emanuela and Jennifer. And let's learn a little bit more about Emanuela. She was trained in Pasteur Institute and had the opportunity of going there. And she also worked at the Max Planck Unit of Science of Pathogens in Berlin. This is where she works now. She won Kavli Prize, which is another prestigious prize. And this is Jennifer. And she's about 56, quite young, and also University of California, again from US. And she won similar prizes, Kavli Prize. You can see a similarity in the prizes which begin to show up in the earlier part of their career, which is kind of predictive for Nobel Prize. So there is a competition which goes on, who will win the Nobel Prize, and they look at what they have won, whether they have got Kavli Prize or not, whether they have got a Lasker Prize in their career or not. So what they did was they studied the bacteria Streptococcus pyogenes and discovered what is called as the tracer RNA. And this system is a part of CRISPR-Cas, which comes from this virus, which actually disarms the viruses, which this bacteria, the bacteria she was working with, Emanuele was working with Streptococcus pyogenes, the bacteria, and these bacteria had a natural system within them by which they could disarm the viruses which would cleave their DNA, and by what is called the genetic scissors. And this is called the CRISPR-Cas9 system. I will not go into the detail because of the multidisciplinary aspect of this audience. And we'll try to expand this a little bit day after tomorrow. But suffice to say, these are the individuals who have been Nobel laureates. And I wanted to say that the discoveries have had an immense application for medicine or the practice of medicine. For example, the Nobel Prize for antibodies went to Georges Kohler and Milstein, and similarly the Nobel, that was in 1984. The Nobel Prize of Medicine for the medicine in 2003 went to for the discovery of MRI. Peter Mansfield, we know that this is now used extensively in medical research as well as diagnostics. So this is again to say that these discoveries have had an immense application in research, biomedical research, in practice of medicine. And people, again, as you can see, as I showed you in the previous slides, were from different fields, and yet they contributed to the other field in a significant manner. And this helped for them to give new perspective to the field on which they were working. The Nobel Prize for 1923 went on the discovery of insulin venting, and the Nobel Prize for PCR, which is a technique used for, you might be hearing of RT-PCR being used in the detection of SARS-CoV virus, was actually discovered by Kary Mullis, who recently he died, and he was the one who got the Nobel in 1993. It's just a picture of our visit to US, where we had the opportunity of meeting Eric Kandel, who discovered the mechanisms involved in learning and memory. As I also showed in previous slide, Eric Kandel won the Nobel after 35 years of wait. So there have been controversies. People have rejected. These are the significant contributions which were made and communicated to the top journals like Science, Nature, and they rejected them before the Nobel Committee recognized them and awarded them the Nobel Prize. Must have been embarrassing for the editors of Nature and Science. For example, Carrie Mullis's paper was rejected from Nature and Science. Rosalind's paper was also rejected by Science, and they eventually went on to win the Nobel Prize. There are different monographs which can be captured. This is a letter from Nature declining to publish the first paper on citric acid cycle, and which later on became, he went on to get the Nobel Prize. Similarly, there's a letter of rejection from the Journal of Clinical Investigation, one of the top journals. And then Rosalind's, this is what Rosalind presumably shared with the Nobel Committee, and then he went on to get the Nobel Prize. So there have been also controversies, and those controversies range from people declining to take the award at the time of Hitler, people who were imprisoned at the time, they were under arrest, for example. These are the names on the bottom: Karl von Ossieński, Aung San Suu Kyi, Liu Xiaobo. They won the Nobel, but they were under detention, so couldn't really get the Nobel. There were people who declined the Nobel on their own, such as Sartre in literature, and Lee Dokho, who won the Nobel Prize for Peace, also declined it. And there have been people who got Nobel Prize posthumously. Only 2 people got it, which is listed on the top: Dag Hammarskjöld and Erik Axel Karlfeldt, the Nobel Prize for Peace and Literature. Since 1974, no award has been posthumously given unless death has occurred after the announcement of the Nobel Prize. And people have won multiple Nobel Prizes also, like one in physics. Madame Curie got it twice, Pauling got it twice, once for chemistry, another time for peace. Sanger got it for chemistry in 58 as well as in 80. These are phenomenal people with brilliance and amazing productivity. People who got ICRC is an organization who got the Nobel Prize for Peace in 1944, 1963. Those are the organizations. And then there have been, of course, controversies, people who won the Nobel and they were criticized. Mahatma Gandhi was 5 times nominated for Nobel, but they did not get it. And there were critics who said that only white Europeans and Americans mostly had to be given this prestigious honor. But those were just the critics saying that. The Dalai Lama got the Nobel, and then the critics said that he wanted to split China. So these are the list of people who won the Nobel, and there were criticism of their being. So the Nobel Prize Committee and the Nobel Prize are also enshrouded in controversies. Barack Obama's controversy is very well known, and Malaya, so a 16-year-old Pakistani girl who rallied against Taliban, was also, there was a lot of controversy with people who tried to play her down as she misinterpreted Islamic law and stuff like that. So those controversies have been there. One of the major controversies was by one of the persons who recently said that I don't want to see Narendra Modi as a prime minister. That was another controversy. And there have been people like who have declared who are Nobel, or once you get a Nobel Prize, you may come up with statements which have impact. For example, Randy Sheckman, one of the Nobel laureates, said that he will not publish papers in Nature and Science. These are top journals. And he said because they have an agenda, these are luxury journals and they cut corners and they pursue trendy fields of science than doing more important work. So this is how Randy Sheckman came forward and asked for a boycott of his research labs, data being published in these top journals. So some people came and rose against the anti-gay laws, and some people say that someone like this guy Kurt Vucic, he got a Nobel in chemistry. He feels, and he said, gave a statement that not many Indians are able to come back with their nominations for some reason as compared to other countries. Very few Indians go back and use their nomination capacity to nominate their fellow colleagues in the field of Nobel Prizes. So this is something that he said, and he said a lot of another Nobel Committee chairman, Shwet Ledin, said that not a single Indian nomination was received for Nobel Prize in Medicine that particular year. I think it was 2013. These are the individuals who are Nobel Prize winners: Doris Lessig, Frederick Sanger, Nelson Mandela, and John Conforth, who won the Nobel for literature, chemistry, and they have departed. They are no longer with us, and There is also an inspiration initiative, people who come together and they to predict that who will get a Nobel Prize based on whether they are among the top scientists being cited, what other prizes they've been getting, like I mentioned, Kavli Prize, like I mentioned, the Lasker Prize. So those initiatives are being carrying out. Even our DST does that initiative, not only in predicting Nobel laureates, but also in making bringing these Nobel laureates to universities and bringing students and postdoctoral fellows to intermingle with them, to interact with them, to be inspired by them. Those programs are ongoing, and this is the commit. This is particularly a group which engages itself in predicting the Nobel prizes. So. There is some trend in what the Nobel laureates have in their profile, and much of it is that how many publications they have, as I showed in one table, and also what are the citation index, how many times the research work is being cited, and what prizes they've been getting. And so, as I also mentioned in that bottom, you can read what awards have they been getting, whether it's a Lasker Award or it's a Kavli Award. And this is also a very important criteria. So in India also, we have a CUBE Society run by Arunan, Dr. Arunan at TFR, Homi Bhabha Center, who has a group of students who come together to predict who will be the Nobel laureates, and he does this in September this time. So this is all I wanted to tell you, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and we don't miss the part 2 of this presentation, which is going to happen in the day after tomorrow. I'm going to stop sharing the screen right now so that I can take questions if there are any, and if there aren't any, I will then move to asking Priya if she has any questions now. If she doesn't have, then we can move to the part 2, which is going to be day after tomorrow. Priya, you have any questions?
No, sir. Thank you for the presentation. It was very nice presentation.
Thank you, Priya, and we'll now close the program here and look forward to your feedback. Please follow our page, and this page belongs to the Facebook pages to the Integrative Medicine case reports. We want to have the best breakthroughs in the field that overlaps modern medicine, Ayush, and yoga, and mechanistic studies, so that I hope this particular presentation inspired you to do cutting edge research, mechanistic research, which is published in top journals and is a Nobel Prize winning work. So thank you very much for your attention. Namaskar.